in the ratings already.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off with I'm gonna be overly hard on it with a 6. Although, like Emma said, I think it's a fun time. There's a lot of there's some good scenes, but also I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
And watching it, I was a little disappointed that Bombay, how are you gonna put Emilio on the cover?
And he's in it for 10 minutes
not in
totally.
I just feel like now you're just cash grabbing his stardom. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with him leaving because I think that added a really cool cinematic way for the Ducks to kind of start to unravel, and it kind of sets the mood of everything, and everything's kind of, there's like this sadness that I really liked, but then
I like Charlie's growth
towards the end.
Yeah.
I think Bombay should have came out at least co-coached.
That would have been cool.
But he doesn't.
In the box with him.
And I was like, why not? Why?
But I think they were trying to move. Well, I knew they were trying to move away from having him as a coach and stuff, and letting somebody else take over. And it was, I think, because the whole thing was the last movie. I think the biggest complaint was they just rehashed what they did in Mighty Ducks 1.
Yeah.
And D2 was just like a rehash, and people were complaining why the fuck would you ever pick Iceland over as a villain, and this one was just a rebranding of the Mighty Ducks, and it was just Emilia Estevez moving away from it. But I do agree, why the fuck would we have him in the fucking cover? And him being a total of 5 minutes on screen.
Don't even put him on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, if they want to move away, why did they do that? You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird because seeing the cover and then watching the movie, that was just a big thing for me, because I like him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of him, and although I do like that twist that I think gives the movie its edge, where he ends up being the lawyer and he comes in and he saves them. Spoiler for anybody.
Quack.
But yeah, Emilio, of course, he's the one who saves them, and they're able to stay because of it, which is pretty cool. But I just felt like it was still, in the grand scheme of things, there was something missing to that closure for me.
Yeah.
A little bit. And the coach, I feel like the coach is an asshole, and they try to get you to sympathize with him.
He's super harsh to them. He's like, the Ducks are dead.
But then it's and then even when Bombay gives this little pep talk, it's like, yeah, but you're not okay. So you went and talked to this motherfucker, and he's still treating them like this? I don't is it just like?
But Hans kind of gives him that Charlie that talk where he sees the potential in all of you. That's why he's so hard, because he wants to bring that out.
The sandbox treatment.
Yeah. He's like Bombay kind of.
I think Bombay kind of father all of them.
He kind of he was treating them like his kids, and he wasn't too hard on them because he's been with them since they were little or whatever, since the first one. And this guy was like, well, he says they're so good, so I'm gonna work them, and at least that's how I see it, because coming from playing football and stuff, that's what most people do. When they're like, oh, this kid's really good, I'm going to work his ass off, and so he can show me how good he is. But
I guess I could see that, where he's like, I'm not trying to be their friend. But I think that it was just kind of in the writing or maybe it was just the guy himself.
Yeah.
He looks like a dick. Where
I was kind of on Charlie's side, no, fuck that, no, you should leave or whatever.
I don't agree with any of you guys. The coach was the best part. He was he did what a coach does, like you said.
Pushes you.
Yeah, he pushed you. He was an asshole, but like you said, he was trying to sympathize. They were trying to make you sympathize with him, but when you're around, I don't know, I feel like it was very that aspect, at least the coaching with the coach and the kids, like it was very realistic, like how things really are.
Well, that's how I can relate to it.
Yeah, you kind of have to, when you're working with kids, like you kind of are a certain way with kids, and then when you're not there, you're just not like that. From experience, I can say that is very real. I mean, I am kind of like a harsh person. I hold people at high standards, like no matter what, like everybody is like, you know, up here, and if you fuck up, you're kind of like, oh, you're bumping yourself down, you know. I think less and less of you, like, why are you a shitty person and all that. But the kids are the same, like kids are capable of doing all of this. Everything that he's pushing them to do, they are capable of doing it. And the kids also, Charlie did what kids do. They, you know, they push you, they push your buttons, and you know, they try you so hard. And I mean, that's how kids learn.
And they weren't used to that because of Emilio Estevez.
Like you said, he treats them like his kids,
kind of like
and
the
coach is like, well, I don't know these kids, but I know, quote unquote, kids in general.
They're world champions. Like, see if they could train like world champions. Because that's the stigma that everybody that they went into the movie, where they're like, well, these motherfuckers are world champions,
right?
Like, show us.
I like how he takes Charlie's C, his captain.
Like, you gotta
he's like, no, earn it for me. He's like, Bombay gave that to you. This is a different coach now. You're not a captain anymore. Show me you're a captain by leading this team. I'm gonna be hardest on you because you're supposed to be the captain and you're supposed to take charge of this team.
And we saw
it must stand for Charlie, because he sure doesn't stand for captain.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But it was good. It was good because it gave Charlie kind of went into secondary. Was the star of this, and it wasn't Emilio Estevez this time. It was Joshua Jackson that fucking took over that.
The whole thing, how you say, Emilio was on the cover, so I think you're like, I wanted to see him there, you know, like coming at the end, maybe like coaching the game or whatever at the very end. But I think that it was good that he wasn't in that aspect of like the coaching. Like, he's moved on, like he's done, like that part of him coaching those kids, like he's done, he moved on. But I think it was a wrong choice putting him on the cover if he wasn't going to be in the movie.
They should have just had the hockey mask there, and that was it.
Something.
I thought that the new coach was, what's his name? I didn't catch his name, actually. I thought that he was one of the best parts of the film, actually.
And
also, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie. I would also rate it maybe a 6, and I'm being generous. Yeah.
The more positive side.
But I like that they would put kids in, the kids were put in situations that are kind of real life. Like, like that girl, Charlie's girl, that was trying to get him, like, to sign the petition, you know, to change the warrior name. And then Charlie comes in saying, like, oh, well, what's wrong with,
you know?
And she's like, well, it's demeaning, you know? And then he names off all these other names that are just exactly like that. And
the Redskins.
He doesn't get it.
And
and I think, like, they had something going on there, but then they wanted to do so many other things too in the film.
They couldn't focus on that.
And also, like, them being in high school and
being bullied or
getting bullied, and also like liking girls, like that one kid walking under the table with not looking up. There's the cheerleader skirts, but like
he happens to see the underwear.
I had a big issue with that scene,
especially being a Disney movie.
Yeah, I was like, why would
it actually gets cut on the networks?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only time it airs like that. So if it airs on Disney, they'll cut that scene.
I was like, why did they put that?
I thought it was actually funny though on that scene where he's crawling and then he looks to the camera and does the eyebrow raise and kind of acknowledges he
breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Yes,
I always thought that was, even as a kid, I was like, oh, that's funny. He's like looking at me.
That I thought that was a funny scene, but also.
It's
But
a risque kind of scene.
It shows you where we were at back then.
Yeah.
You know, like things that were socially acceptable. And being PG.
Not necessarily socially acceptable, just like not given importance to.
Yeah.
Like overlooked, kind of.
It was crazy. I would give it a 6 too, but this is a movie I chose. But
I liked why you chose the movie. I thought, like you have like these connections to films. It doesn't mean that you actually that film is like super fucking great. It's just your experience with that film that actually, when it comes down to it, that's what really matters.
I mean, and then you also have to think like this film probably gave the world so many NHL players, an NHL team, launched a lot of people's careers and stuff as far as acting is concerned. And this one, I think, was more appealing to me because I like the fact that the character of Charlie is the main focus in this film more than ever. It sucks that some of the players that were there for the first and second part aren't there anymore, which is sad. But I love, like I said, I love the movie because it focuses on a different character besides other franchises, and we get to see a little bit more of what. And then also, like around this time, we're little kids and we're hitting that puberty stage where they were going. So we technically kind of grew up with them, So, like for me, it holds a special place in my heart as far as that. As far as movies concerned, it's not the best. It hasn't aged well. Yeah. It's still
there's some hammy parts.
I will say, like, I'm really proud of the fact that they have the girls there. Like that's a big thing. The girls playing the hockey with the boys.
That was kind of progressive.
Thinking about that,
yeah.
Because I didn't know too many.
And having them everybody treat them as equals.
They were changing in the same locker room.
Yeah, like very. I'm sure that they were like covered up.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
if it were to happen in real life.
But I mean, just to have them in the same room,
right? Yeah,
was pretty. Very progressive.
That's very progressive as fuck. Like what they did and shit.
And how the coach, like after the first practice, he named. Orion, the girl, the first goalie, and then
Katie,
Catherine,
whatever,
yeah,
Julie the cat,
yeah, and then
I had a huge crush on her.
And then Goldie was,
Goldberg,
second. Goldberg, was second, and and even that when that happened, he was just like, "What?"
He's like, "What? I'm second."
Yeah, and then he wasn't. All he wanted to do was like. Feed the girl, feed her treats and stuff, so she could kind of gain weight and stuff. But not even be like, he wasn't so negative towards her. I thought that aspect was cool too.
I think towards even in the final games, he respects the fact that she goes in first, and then they'll call him in later. They
even used him at a different position.
Yeah, there's a camaraderie there that they all. It's cool. That's one thing that I think that the movie gets right is the teamwork and the way and the filming on ice, which they can't be easy.
Oh, that must be the most difficult shit ever.
Yeah, to kind of simulate a real game and make it cohesive.
Yeah,
they do a really good job doing that because I like hockey, and it's cool watching older stuff going back, and these kind of turn into period pieces, so you get to see what was big during that time.
One problem I had with the senior guys is they were looking a little old. to me, they look.
Which one?
The seniors.
The varsity team? Yeah.
They're like in college.
They look
maybe